Oh hi. The Republic of Equatorial Guinea, the state in the Central Africa. Borders on Cameroon and Gabon. It is washed by the Gulf of Guinea. Equatorial Guinea consists of two parts. Continental. Rio Muni minus 26,000 km. An island. The island of Bioko minus 2,000 km. Carisco, Anoben, Big Alobi, Small Alobi, etc. The capital, now the city of Malabo on the island of Bioko, on the continent, is under construction. The new capital Ciudad. The population of the country on a census of 2015. According to preliminary data, made 1,222,442 persons. This only sovereign African state which official language is Spanish, along with French. Since 1990 years the state became the large exporter of oil at the expense of what his DDD per capita rose by the first position in continental Africa. However, oil revenues are distributed extremely unevenly. A considerable part of the population has even no continuous access to clear water, and child mortality in the country remains at a high level. Up to 20% of children die without having lived up to 5 years. By the Index of Human Development is in the 138th place in the world. 2015. During the colonial period, the territory of the country was occupied by the Spanish Guinea. In 1959, the Spanish possession in the Gulf of Guinea received the status of overseas territories of Spain under the name Equatorial Region of Spain, and were divided into the provinces of Fernando Po and Rio Muni. In December 1963 they were united in Equatorial Guinea, to which limited autonomy was provided. In 1968 Spain provided to Equatorial Guinea independence. The name was accepted owing to location of the country in the geographical area of Lower Guinea and its proximity to the equator. The early history of the country is studied rather poorly. By the time of the beginning of the European colonization by the main inhabitants of this territory, there were tribes of Pygmies and Bubi. Language family to Abo. In 1472 the Portuguese expedition under command of the captain Fernando Po opened the island in the Gulf of Guinea called Fernando Po, nowadays the island of Bioko. Colonization of the island by Portuguese began since 1592. In 1642-1648 Holland tried to seize the island. In 1778 under Alpardo's contract Portugal transferred the island and the territory of Rio Muni on the continent of Spain. However, the Spanish expedition sent to Rio Muni was destroyed by the local tribe of Bubi. At the beginning of the 19th century, 1827, the island of Fernando Po was occupied by British, having founded the city Clarence Town there. Nowadays, the capital of Equatorial Guinea, the city of Malabo. In 1843 Spaniards won the island of Fernando Po, and in 1856 won the territory of Rio Muni. Bubi's tribe was pushed aside to mountains. Bubi's tribe tried to destroy the Spanish colonialists in 1898 in Rio Muni, and then in 1906 on the island of Fernando Po. Both revolts were suppressed by Spaniards. In 1926, the Spanish Guinea by association in uniform structure of colonies of Rio Muni, Bioko and Ilobi, Anoben and Corisco was created. Spain wasn't interested in development of infrastructure of colony, but put big plantations of cocoa on the island of Bioko where thousands of workers from Nigeria were delivered. In 1959, Fernando Po and Rio Muni were announced by the overseas provinces of Spain under the name Equatorial Region of Spain. In December 1963, limited internal autonomy is provided to the Spanish Guinea. Under pressure of liberation movement and the United Nations in March 1968, Spain agreed to begin decolonization process. The independent republic was proclaimed on October 12. On August 1, 1968, in the country, the referendum following the results of which 63% of voters voted for the new constitution was held. Francisco Macias Nguema Biogo became the first president. In July 1970, the presidential decree dismissed all parties and the organizations and the Uniform National Party of Workers, which included all adult population of the country, is created. In foreign policy, Nguema tried to maneuver between the West and the USSR, but as a result I suspended relations with Spain and the USA. In 1970, and it was partially reoriented on the socialist countries. In 1972, he was proclaimed by the lifelong president of the country. Within the campaign of authenticity, replacement of the Spanish colonial names of geographical objects by the African. The capital Santa Isabel was renamed into Malabo, and the island of Fernando Po in 1973 is renamed into the island of Macias Nguema Biogo. Under the leadership of the president, in whose behavior by the end of the 70s symptoms of weak-mindedness began to be shown, the country came to political and economic collapse. On August 3, 1979, in the country there was a military coup under leadership of the nephew of the dictator, Teodoro Obiang Nguema Mbasogo, the former deputy minister of defense of the country. Charge of 80,000 murders was brought to Macias Nguema. He was found guilty of 500 murders and is sentenced to execution. As the population of Equatorial Guinea believed that Macias is a sorcerer and has supernatural forces, any of soldiers didn't agree to take part in execution. For commission of an execution, it was necessary to cause a platoon of the Moroccan mercenaries specially. The island of Macias Nguema Biogo was once again renamed into the island of Bioko. In October 1979, a considerable part of the nationalized property, plantations, the enterprises, shops, etc., is returned to former owners. In November 1979, freedom of private business is proclaimed. A relationship with Spain and the USA was soon restored. In 1982, the new constitution declaring political freedoms is adopted. On the shelf in 1991, oil production began. However, in the 1990s Massachusetts arrests of figures of opposition were carried out, many were killed. Actually, one-party dictatorship in which the president is steadily re-elected on not free elections with the indicators close to 100% of voices. The lowest result in 2016 is established. 93%. The nepotism and corruption thrives. Forbes estimates a fortune of the head of state in $600 million. To the president, as in due time, and to the predecessor overthrown by him, divine honors are done. In the old years, at least 2 attempts of a coup in Equatorial Guinea took place. In the 2010 years, the government of the country began construction of the new capital on the place of the city of Ouala. The new capital was called by Sayudat. The mainland of Equatorial Guinea, Rio Muni, upland 600-900 m high, along the coast of the Atlantic Ocean, the low plain. The volcanic island of Bioko belongs to the Cameroonian line, the highest point, Mount Picobasal, 3011 m. The climate is equatorial, constantly damp. Average monthly temperatures, +24, +28 C. Rainfall more than 200 May a year. River network dense and deep. The rivers Prochist are navigable only in lower reaches. Vegetation, damp equatorial forests. Over 150 valuable breeds of trees, olive and coconut palm trees, a breadfruit tree, an iron tree, the storage battery, etc. Grow. The fauna is rich in various, different types of monkeys, elephants, leopards, antelopes, gazelles, etc. The dragon, birds, insects, arachnoid is a lot of. Republic. The head of state, the president. It is chosen the population for a 7-year term, the number of terms isn't limited. The next elections took place on April 24, 2016. Teodoro Obiang Nguema ruling the country continuously since 1979 is again declared the winner. From 93.7% of voices. Parliament, unicameral chamber of national representatives from 100 deputies elected for 5 years. Political parties. Following the results of elections in May of the 2008 and May of the 2013. Democratic Party. The head, Teodoro Obiang Nguema -99 seats in Parliament. The United Party for Social Democracy, the first seat in Parliament. A number of parties works in an underground. The National Guard is a basis of armed forces of Army of Equatorial Guinea. In her ranks there are about 3,000 the man, 1,100 people, ground forces, 100 people, the Air Force. On arms. Green 6 pieces, Fro -152 10 pieces. There are Force Su -25 and the transport and -72 plane. Transport planes and helicopters. Yak -40 1 piece, Kosasi -212 3 pieces, Cessna -337 1 piece, Sa -316 Alouette 3 2 pieces. The military budget of Equatorial Guinea -0.1% of DDD. The territory of Equatorial Guinea is divided into 7 provinces, from them 2 are located on the island of Bioko, 1 on the island of Anoban and 4 within a continental part of the country of Guinea. In turn, provinces are included into 2 regions. Island and continental. Guinea or Rio Muni. The population of the country on a census of 2015. According to preliminary data, made 1,222,442 persons. According to estimated data, For 2020, the population of the country makes 836,178 people. Annual gain minus 2.35%. Fertility minus 4.11 births only woman. Infantile mortality minus 59.7 on 1,000. Average life expectancy minus 65.7 years. Contamination a virus of an immunodeficiency. HIV. Minus 7.1%. Assessment of 2018. Urban population minus 73.1%. The largest ethnic groups. 86%. And booby. 7%. An insignificant part of the population. Less than 1%. Europeans. Generally Spaniards. Languages Spanish. About 2/3 population own. And French. Less than 1/3 population. Official. Local languages and booby. Religions, nominally Catholics, however practicing pagan rites. Literacy minus 97.4% of men and 93% of women. Assessment of 2015. Natural resources: oil, gas, the wood, gold, bow, diamond, tantalum. At the expense of the oil fields put into operation, Equatorial Guinea in recent years sharply increased the income, and in calculation of DDD per capita, $36,600 in 2009, is on the first place in Black Africa and on the 30th place in the world. Structure of DDD in 2009. Agriculture minus 2.4%. The industry minus 93.3%. Services industry minus 4.2%. In agriculture are cultivated coffee, cocoa, rice, yam, cassava, tapioca, bananas, cocos. The cattle gets divorced. The industry oil production. In 2013, 14.6 million tons. And gas. Equatorial Guinea, the producer and the exporter of the liquefied natural gas. The main sales market, the USA. Capacity of plant, started within the Equatorial Guinea Elm project in 2007, is 3.72 million tons. The plant uses raw materials of offshore fields Alba and Zafiro. Average monthly salary in the country minus $255. 2019. Tens of thousands of workers from other countries of Africa arrive every year in Equatorial Guinea in search of the better life. At the same time, issues of decrease in level of poverty and achievement of stability of economy still remain rather sharp. Nearly a half of the population of the country continues to be below the poverty line. As of 2019, the minimum wage makes 129,035 francs. $222.99 a month. Export in 2017, $6.118 billion, oil, gas, wood, cocoa, coffee. The main buyers: China, 28%. India, 11.8%. South Korea, 10.3%. Portugal 8.7%. The USA 6.9%. Spain 4.9%. Import in 2017 to $577 billion, the equipment for oil production, industrial goods, food. The main suppliers: Spain 20.5%. China 19.4%. The USA 13%. Côte d'Ivoire 6.2%. The Netherlands 4.7%. For the beginning of 2018, the proved reserves of natural gas minus 145 billion cubic meters. The main part is concentrated in the offshore field of Alba. This main field, at the expense of which the most part of commodity production is provided. In the country GPP Alba plant en Elson, the plant on elm production of egg function. Equatorial Guinea carries out gas export only in the form of elm. Main directions of export: India 23.5% in 2018. China 19.4%. Chile 15.1%. Pakistan 9.0%. Singapore 7.8%. During the colonial period, an education could be got only at Catholic schools. The government of the mother country conducted education in Spanish. Equatorial Guinea had one of the highest levels on the continent, about 90%. Free school education also is obligatory up to 14 years. Literacy level minus 95.12%. 2015. From them, literacy level among youth minus 98%. The main higher education institution of the country, the National University of Equatorial Guinea. It is founded in 1995. Consists of the following faculties: Faculties of Agriculture, Faculty of Fishery and Medical, Faculty of Business, Education, Engineering Faculty. More than 500,000 students got grants on training at the university. The State Broadcasting Company, RAV. Radio Television de Guinea Equatorial, Radio and Television of Equatorial Guinea. Includes TV channel. Television de Guinea Equatorial, Television of Equatorial Guinea. It started TA in 1968, and the ranch radio station. Radio Nacional de Guinea Equatorial, National Radio of Equatorial Guinea. Started by REN in 1967. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.